Hello, I'm Melisa Idris.
And I am Ibrahim, Sani.
Welcome to Consider This, the show that wants you to consider and then reconsider some of the news of the day. Now, we'll start the night with some good news today. Tun Dr. Siti Hasmah Muhammad Ali has been discharged from hospital where she was under treatment for food poisoning.
Of course, she was seen in a jovial mood coming out of the private hospital in Kuala Lumpur. She was being treated for food poisoning apparently, but Tun Dr. Mahathir did say that she's feeling jovial and is just coming back from a mild food poisoning situation. Of course, Tun Mahathir is currently in Vietnam for his 2-day state visit there.
Well, she was supposed to go with him for the state visit, but she was taken ill. So it's good that she is now on the mend, and we're, I guess, hoping that the Ibu Negara, because she was recently given that title, conferred the title of Ibu Negara by the think tank ASLI.
It's true in every sense of the word. Of course, it's a play of words for being the capital of the city, but yes,
but
indeed.
Also the mother,
she is the
mother of the nation, right?
Yes.
There you go. All right, now on to some disappointing news for me personally. The Economist Intelligence Unit, or the EIU better known, recently released its Safe Cities Index for 2019. And guess what? It ranked KL at 35th place out of 60 cities worldwide. What that means essentially is that KL has ranked below average as a safe place to live in.
Also important to note that the top of the list goes to Tokyo, followed by Singapore and another Japanese city, Osaka. And of course, when you think about how EIU rates a city being safe or otherwise, it's not just about the personal safety index of that particular city, but also many other situations as well, and many other matrices, including that of physical security.
Yeah, you know what? That was really interesting for me, because I never thought about it that way. You know, I only think about if you're ranking a city in terms of safety, I would think, oh yeah, my personal safety. I'm thinking about
like
crime. Yeah, on the street. How safe do I feel in my house? But now we're thinking about digital safety. We're thinking about cybersecurity related. We're thinking about infrastructure safety. How prepared are we when it comes to disaster planning? And even in terms of health security, what is the the access to high quality healthcare? Do we have a route if you are taken ill? Can ambulances get to you in time? Traffic congestions and all that.
There's also an important element of this, which is, of course, digital safety and digital security. If you're in a particular city rated within EIU's 60 cities, are you more likely or are you more prone to be ripped off your digital data, digital identity, or otherwise? So this is a sense where we realize that we are below average because we are ranked 35th in terms of all these matrices, including that of cybersecurity.
Yeah, and I think it's particularly concerning, not just because we're ranked 35th, but because we've fallen in the ranking. So we're actually going the other way instead of improving. So last year we were 31st in the ranking. This year falling 4 places.
But there is a silver lining. We are still above Beijing. We're still above Shanghai. We're still above all these megalopolis.
But we can't beat Singapore. Singapore's second.
There is a perennial problem, isn't it?
We can't beat Singapore.
Eventually we'll get there, I'm pretty sure.
The rivalry is strong. What can I say, isn't it? Well, on to other news. Now, we also have news that 16-year-old Swedish environmental activist Greta Thornburg has arrived in New York after a 15-day voyage across the Atlantic. She will be participating in the UN Climate Summit in New York City as well as in Chile. And
this is a very interesting bit because Swedish teen climate activist Greta Thornburg arrived in New York to chants and cheers on Wednesday after her Atlantic sailboat arrived at that particular place. It was argued that it was zero-emission travel, but I don't know whether it's really zero-emissions travel. Anyway, here is a clip of her arriving amidst hundreds of activists gathered around Hudson River in New York to cheer her arrival.
Yeah, it felt like something not out of my life, but something strange. I don't know how to explain it. It was a very weird moment. And to go from one extreme to be isolated and disconnected, just open sea, to all this, it's very strange and it's hard to, with the brain, to cope with it, and to also be welcomed so much by so many people. It was incredible.
So this is the argument whether or not it was really zero emissions travel, because if you fly from Stockholm to New York, it'll just take you about 12 hours. And the fact that she has traveled over 16 days on a so-called zero-emission yacht, one would argue what powered her there, other than the fact that she's been tweeting every hour while every single moment on that particular 16-day voyage. And not to mention, Melisa, the fact that that cabin needs to be warmed up.
Listen, there's renewable energy, right, that can reduce zero emissions. There's things as offsetting carbon emissions that can make it zero emission travel. Now, I have to say, the Greta Thornburg is more interesting because of the debate and conversation that she has generated with her method of environmental evangelicalism, right?
Yeah, okay, so that's the word, right? So, environmental evangelicalism.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Whether or not this is truly trying to promote something for the better. My question is she an institution or is she a 16-year-old person? And by the way, she's self-declared that on her Twitter bio, I'm a 16-year-old climate activist with Asperger. That's what she says on her Twitter bio.
So Asperger's, of course, is a form of autism, which she says that it allows her to see things from outside the box. So it helps her in her activism work. Now, I have to say, the critics of Greta say that she oversimplifies the problem of climate change. She says, we have all the solutions to climate change, we just need a change in our actions. She also, the critics of Greta also say, listen, a 16-year-old is not a legally responsible adult, therefore she cannot be open to robust criticism.
Yeah.
However, I completely disagree. I think that there are a lot of people who disagree with her brand of environmentalism, but I disagree when people say, when they use the age, her age against her.
Of course, you can. I agree with that. Just because she's young doesn't mean that she can't inspire. And while I question her method of traveling from one point to another, what I do want to recommend is that she is inspiring many others to actually look at climate change and whether or not climate activism can be this way instead of, say, climate terrorism or many other destructive ways of trying to get the message across.
What about Greta's school strikes, Ibrahim? What do you think about the, so what she's done essentially is that she encouraged teenagers as well as younger children to skip school to protest the climate change. So,
what harm does it do?
Yeah, a lot of people say this is bad influence. What do you think?
I don't think there's tangible harm. Nobody got hurt. I mean, just because you skip, we have skipped classes. Let's not kid ourselves. The fact that she wants to call for action, and indeed this is a problem that is meant for everyone to solve. Yes, that's an important part of, or important element for us to actually look at it. But whether or not that travel thing, that boat thing, I don't know, this is a media stunt for me.
Okay, all right. Well, something to consider tonight. What you think about Greta Thunberg. We're going to be back with more on Consider This, so stay tuned.